Namaste. Welcome to another episode of Nasta with Nam. We have yummy food from Best Masala Mix, and we have our lovely guest Milind today with us. So, Milind, I want to know all about Happy Strokes. How did you start it? You always wanted to do this, and how did you build your practice?
Thank you, firstly, for having me, Ankita. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
I am a clinical and counseling psychologist, and I worked before with a lot of organizations, hospitals, and rehabilitations. And somewhere I've always wanted to have my own thing. But you know how it is when you're starting something new, you're always questioning whether you should
Do it or
step
not,
into
yeah.
it, because when you start a new venture, I think it takes a lot. Like, you're not just a psychologist, but you're also doing other roles as well. But then when COVID hit, I got to work a lot on myself to understand what I really needed and what I wanted my path to look like. And that's when I decided to start Happy Strokes.
Okay.
It started with a product business.
Okay, I didn't
used
know
to-
that.
Yeah, so I made these gratitude journals with
Okay.
a lot of, worksheets that would help you deal with or combat with the, COVID pressures or the fears that COVID brought in. And then, slowly I started seeing that, people really wanted to reach out for help. And that's when I started, opened it more to therapy as well. And I've not looked back.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's been a wonderful, wonderful journey so far.
So how, like, where did you get your first client for? And people who bought the products eventually turned out and came for therapy as well.
Yes. So my very first client was from America.
Oh, wow.
And the fact that I was building a community to just render support, and that people across the world felt supported, was a very big validation to me as well, that I'm doing something right. When there are people who are really feeling helped with all those things. So she reached out and she talked to me. She had lived in India
Okay.
before for a couple of years. And she connected with me and we connected really well. And that's where we kind of, she was like, do you take therapy? I was like, yes, I do take therapy. But I'm doing online right now completely. So she said that I'm obviously not here, so I would love that. So that's how we
Okay.
kind of.
Yeah, because as entrepreneurs, we keep hearing that building a service brand is really, really hard. Like, it's very challenging because you don't have something tangible to show. And with products brand, at least it's easier because people can see, but
Yes.
it is very trust based and you have to build that loyalty and
Absolutely.
trust. So, a lot of service brands actually initially struggle. So, what are your tips and tricks that, like, top things that you would like to share with our audience so that it is easier journey for them?
I think the first and the most important thing is believing in yourself and not giving up on yourself, because a lot of times, we let that inner voice, that imposter syndrome kind of, get to us, and we kind of hold back from kind of realizing our full potential. I think the very first thing is have faith in where you're going or where you're headed and what value you can add to the world. Because yes, service business is something, like you rightly said, that it cannot be seen. It is experience, and there can be social media, there can be a number of things you can put it out to, but of course people will always come to you when they hear about you or when you've been able to help somebody. So when I started, I only had 2 clients. When I restarted this, I only had 2 clients to start with. And honestly, it was those 2 clients who,
Were
after
really
from
happy.
word of mouth, there were more who came to you. So it's a process, and a lot of times, in the initial stages, when there are not many people coming in, we do end up doubting ourselves and questioning the whole process of things. It's very important to keep believing and keep going.
Yes.
There will be people who will say that, what if this is not going to work out? At that point of time, you need to believe that you will be able to work this out and things will work out for the best. Even if it's 2 right now, today I have 20 plus clients.
Wow.
Within a year.
Congratulations to you. That's a
Thank
huge
you.
number.
Yes. And they're amazing. Like, I have to say that I learn so much from them too every day. And that's how it has to be. Every service based industry is built on trust and relationship. And that's all it is, to be
Yeah.
very honest. So if you're able to give that trust to the person, they will definitely be able to be, you know, open up to you and work with you.
And also openly recommend you.
Yes.
Yes, and you invested a lot on Instagram. Like for me, you are a mental health influencer on Instagram because you have such a lovely organic following. So I want to know, like, was it a conscious decision to build Instagram parallelly, or it was just to share your knowledge initially? And how did you build it so well?
So honestly, when people ask me this, I'm like myself wondering how. But I started this in November 2020, and the reason to start this was that, you know, during COVID, I wanted to be that one person who was giving some information or some encouragement online, because, you know, the world was in distress. And, you know, when I got COVID, I realized how much the internet actually helped me as well. And that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a positive voice that could just, you know, give some support and understanding to people. And you know, I have changed a lot of things when I started, and then I changed the brand logos and the brand colors, etc. But that was pure experimentation. I think the most important thing in growing your Instagram is consistency. You know, because there will be times you will get like so many followers, and then there will be times you will lose followers. And it's important to, you know, be more focused on what you're doing rather than what is incoming. So my focus was never on how many followers are coming in, but on how many genuine connections I'm able to make. So for example, you know, every 2 or 3 days, even now in my busy uh, days, I will respond to people who are commenting, or there are people who will share their stories and, you know, be vulnerable with me on the messages, and I will DM them back. And
So you
to-
check your own messages
Yes.
because sometimes there's a confidentiality issue.
Yes, so that is one thing about my Instagram, that no matter how busy I am or anything, the Instagram, because obviously it has a lot of vulnerable information, and obviously there's confidentiality, so I primarily use it, and I've never given access to anybody. I make everything myself. I reach out to people myself. So it's 100% mine, because, you know, if somebody's trusting me, I do not want
To
anybody
lose
else.
that trust.
Yes.
And also, like, how much time, like, do you plan content in advance? Like, if you can give few tips and tricks for people to understand how to manage their Instagram account for service business specifically.
So, you know, it's very important to plan content ahead, because, you know, there will be days you are very creatively out there, and, you know, you can think a lot, make a lot of things, and then there will be days when you cannot even think one single thing, or there are things that are happening around you. So, you know, I try to make at least 5 to 7 posts when I'm sitting in one go, so that, you know, whenever I want to post, I try to post every day. Once in a while, here and there, I will also not be able to, because I'm too exhausted. Like
Yeah.
yesterday, I finished work at 10.
Yes.
I got home at 10 and I had back-to-back sessions. And then I just decided that I'll reply to people but not post. So, you know, but having those posts there, just, you know, it doesn't make you feel that I have to make a new
Yes.
thing.
Yes.
And it eases off a lot of work.
Yes.
So it is very helpful to do that. The second thing which is very helpful is that if you have a business account or a creator account, do see what is happening, you know, in the a professional dashboard. That's what it's called.
Yes.
So check that out. It will tell you when there is high engagement, what kind of posts are getting good engagement, what are the days where the engagement is very high.
Okay.
I know it's a lot, but once in a while, if you check it, because there's a trend,
Yeah.
and it constantly goes like that. You know, there will be, I mean, there's a lot of content on the internet, and people say that do very viral things and things like that. I've never done those, because I don't relate to that as much.
So be authentic as well.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
That is very important. Be who you are, and that's what the world's going to love about you.
Milind, I wanted to ask you, do you strongly believe that as entrepreneurs, mental health is very, very important to run business also smoothly, because entrepreneurs also have ups and downs. And especially as women entrepreneurs, there's so much, it's not just work, we are like caretakers as well. So, what do you recommend for entrepreneurs?
Okay, so for a human being, mental health is important. I think, we now have started taking care of our mental health, but there is again a lot of information, and people think that just pamper days and spa days are enough for mental health and self care, but it's much more than that. See, as we go through life, every day we have a lot of emotions that we're dealing with. Let's say a colleague said something, or we have so much of pressure on our heads. We will just brush it under the carpet and think that we're gonna, think about it some other
Yeah.
day. That some other day does not come.
Yeah.
And what we don't realize, that all these things pile up, and we start feeling either burnt out, or we start feeling that work is not giving us the same joy it was, not realizing that we have really filled ourselves up to the top. So mental health in a way is also like, how you recharge your phone constantly. I mean, it would die if you don't charge it, right?
Yeah.
It's the same for us. For us to function, we need to constantly recharge ourselves. How to do it? To once in a while process how you feel. Acknowledge. We are so constantly running away from our emotions, because we've learned or been conditioned to think that certain emotions are good while others are bad. But all emotions are a part of us, and acknowledging them can give them a space, and you a space to
Yeah.
heal as well.
For example, being angry is very normal.
I mean, it's a part
Yeah.
of you. It's
Yeah.
so important to, be angry at times, so that you can release a certain kind of emotion that you have. Or let's say crying for women. And I've seen so many times that women are judged for crying. Why? Because, you're so sensitive. What is wrong with being sensitive? At least I'm able to let my emotions out. And this is one reason that women are emotional and they cry, and that's why they have less heart attacks than men. So, which is better? I mean, obviously, crying, right?
Yes.
So, it's very important to cater to what you need as well. We are literally living from one job project to another,
Yes.
not realizing that we are forgetting to live in between. And it doesn't have to be expensive things. It doesn't have to be, you take a whole vacation. It just has to be 5 minutes maybe every day, or a day in a week, or half a day in like 4 5 days, something that brings you joy. That is very, very important.
And but still, I feel that mental health, talking about mental health is taboo, still a taboo. Like if I'm having a fever, I'll openly tell it to everybody that I'm having a fever. I'm not feeling up to it. But as mom, as an entrepreneur myself, I have days where I'm not mentally right, but I don't just feel comfortable talking to people about it. So you still feel that we are evolving in this way?
We are evolving, but it's going to take time, because see, again, we've been conditioned in a certain manner. We've been taught about mental health in a certain way, so we question. Also, because the biggest fear of our generation is fear of judgment.
Yes.
And we fear that if we say something like this, would this other person actually understand, or go behind my back and make fun
Yeah.
of me? So we hold back because of that. People are not going to judge you for a fever,
Yeah.
but they might judge you for
For a
having a
mental-
bad mental health
Yeah.
day. So, there, even though the awareness is improving, I think the acceptance aspect of it still has a long way to go.
Yeah.
But the good thing is that people are more open to therapy.
Yeah.
So it helps them understand themselves, and heal from things they cannot talk to others about. Let's say if they're not able to share anything with their friends or others around them, they get that space in therapy,
Yes.
which is good. Even if you're not able to share it everywhere yet, there is some place you can share it, which is nice.
Yes. So just to summarize, I wanted to ask you, somebody who just new setting up business either in mental space or a wellness space, what are the few things that you'll tell them that how they can get started in a quick manner?
Okay. You're talking about particularly counseling?
Yes.
So from the very start, don't invest too much. First, because it's a slow process. Start online, because now that the world is online, if you don't have a space, start online from your own house, so that you don't feel like you're investing and you're not getting anything back, because that causes a lot of stress and it causes a lot of doubt, right? The second thing is just with every client you see what kind of work is connecting you with that other person the most.
Yeah.
And the most important thing for therapists is to also keep working on themselves.
Yes.
Because we forget that we're human too, and there can be things that your clients will say that will end up triggering you. So as a therapist, it's very important to go to therapy too, or do things to keep recharging yourself, so that you have the capacity to hold emotions.
Yeah, as they say, that put your oxygen mask first before you're helping others.
Yes. So it's very common in therapy that the counselors or psychologists, they tend to get compassion fatigue, because you want to be there for everybody, and you don't know where to draw the line. So understanding, also listening to your body and its needs is very important, and building boundaries is too. Because when we start, we will want to be there for that one client all the time, most of the time, and we'll check in a lot. But as you're growing, that is not possible. And then that boundary, that other client will start feeling that this person is not there for me the way they used to be. So from the beginning, have that boundary that I'm seeing you here today, and beyond this we will you can send me, so this is my own personal thing, that you can send me voice notes, but I will respond to you whenever I do get time. I will not be able to take calls, unfortunately, because I might be through the day busy or something.
Yes, and I think setting boundaries in general for women entrepreneurs is very, very important.
Very helpful. Because women are actually, they have multiple roles. It's not one. It's being a mother, being a child to their parents and looking after them, being a wife, being a daughter-in-law. It's so many roles that you're constantly living through. And having boundaries is not disrespecting anybody, but just respecting yourself.
Yes. Then we have a little bit of fun section. We'll do a rapid fire round with you.
Sure.
So just one word answer that comes to your mind.
Sure.
One word that defines mental health for you.
Complicated.
Your go-to self-care ritual.
Painting.
Painting? Oh, you love painting?
I love painting.
Tea, coffee, or something else to unwind?
Coffee.
I survive on coffee too.
I used to survive on it. I don't survive on it anymore, but it's like I enjoy it. I love my coffees.
What's more important to you, emotional well-being or physical well-being?
I think both. You cannot really pick one, because they're interconnected, and if one goes for a toss, the other will definitely go for a toss.
And your go-to mantra to stay calm during tough times?
I keep breathing, and I just keep telling myself, keep believing, through this you will get through this. I have a lot of faith in my own spiritual beliefs, etc. So I'm always like, I'm never alone, I'm going to get through this.
This has been so nice. Let's dig in.
Thank you.
Please.
I have to mention that I love your outfit. It's my favorite color, and I absolutely love it.
So thank you so much. This is actually a NAM color. So purple is NAM colors, and this is from a NAM brand, Origani. And this is such a comfortable, breathable outfit that I can't tell you. The quality is so good, and it's still stylish. So I just love it.
And it's like, it's stunning. I think it's such a elegant piece that I'm gonna pick this up as well.
Thank you, and please start.
Please have.
You are our guest for the day.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you so much, sir, for coming, Milind. It was such a nice conversation. I'm sure people are gonna take so much back from this conversation.
Thank you so much for having me, Ankita. It's always an honor. It's lovely to be.
Thank you. This is a small candle from us. Thank you for joining us. This is from our brand, Myra, The Creative Way. Such a hand poured.
Thank you so much for
you.
this.